Hello. Thanks for agreeing to set up this interview. As you know, we only have a short amount of time, so let's go ahead and get started right away. Now, I know that you've been involved in some work on community issues. Can you tell me what attracted you to the community issue that you chose at the beginning of the semester?
Yeah, I'd love to. So the community issue I chose at the beginning of the semester was poverty. Now, the reason I was drawn to it as a whole was because I've been able to go on mission trips and see poverty firsthand around the world and also right here in the United States. And poverty is a lot bigger issue than I originally thought it was as a little kid. Seeing it firsthand, I was just amazed and taken back, I guess, by how many people actually are living in poverty and how big of an issue it is around the world. And I was really drawn to it, and I wanted more people to know about it. So that was why I chose it to be my community issues because it was something that I actually knew about and I have seen, and it was something that I want other people to get behind and join me in the whole cause of helping people with poverty.
Okay, thank you. Now, your materials also said that you were involved in a community issue team project that focused on a call to action.
Mhm.
Can you share with me what call to action your team put forward and why you chose that call to action?
Yeah, I'd love to. So the call to action that my team put forward was for people in the future to choose breastfeeding as the option when it comes time for choosing how they're going to feed their infant. And the reason that we chose this was because it was personally it's something that we all really believed in. It was something that we all talked about originally. We were really tentative to do it, but we were all happy that we chose it in the long run because we want more people to know about it. It's something that's kind of not really talking about because it's looked as more of like a taboo subject. And we don't understand why that is because it's something that's so beneficial to both the mother and the child. And we want people to understand the benefits for it. So we wanted people to understand where we're coming from and understand all the facts that came along with it. So that's why we chose breastfeeding. That's also why we chose a call to action for people to be talking about it right now, and then also for the future to be choosing it as an option when it comes time for how they're going to be feeding their infant.
I see. Now, if I were to ask the other members of your team what they think your biggest strength is, what do you think they would say, and why do you think they would say it?
Well, I would hope that my team members would say that my managerial skills would be the best, not for them as individuals, but for the project as a whole and laying out the way that I thought would be the best for both the team and then a little bit individually as well. I laid it out in a fact that I thought that this would be the best things that each of us would be talking about. I put Andrew in charge of talking about the pros and cons of breastfeeding, while Alex was in charge of the pros and cons of formula, and then we making an argument for both sides, letting people know where we officially stand though with breastfeeding being that better option. And I thought that was a good way to do it, and it was really beneficial for me and the whole team as a whole because we're able to just really zero in on our own individual topic and make it, I guess, like a individual speech, but then being able to tie it together as a group at the end was really key. And I'd like to think that I had a big part of that as my managerial skills, just pointing out what the right things to say, what the right things to do were for each person. And I thought that everyone did such a good job as a whole. And I'd like to be a little selfish here, but take a little credit for it because I was able to lay it out in a good, strong way that the team was able to work so well with.
Okay, great. What for you was the most challenging thing about working with your team?
Well, for me, the most challenging thing about working with any team is always the whole team concept behind it. I love working with other people, but I also hate having them to have the responsibility of my grade being on their shoulders as well. Because it's always such a difficult concept for me to have to put my grade in other person's hands during that time period as being in a team group. And it's really, I guess, humbling is a way to put it, knowing that I'm not always the one who's going to have to be in charge. But it was really nice because I had such a good team around me, so I wasn't as scared this time as I have been in other team presentations in the past because I knew everyone was going to be able to carry their own weight. There's always that fear knowing that my grade was also in someone else's hands. And I'm sure that my other group members probably felt the same way, knowing that the other two were also kind of responsible for how they were going to be doing in that class. And it's just a really, I guess, kind of nerve-wracking thing in a team presentation when you have to rely on the other members, make sure that they're carrying their own weight, so you're not the only one getting stuck with all the work. And also, you have to make sure that you're not falling behind, so that you're putting the other team members at risk.
Thank you. Okay, last question. In 30 seconds or so, tell me what your biggest takeaway was from Com 110 this semester. What will stick with you and be useful to you?
I'd have to say my biggest takeaway from Com 110 has been the body movement. I came in to this class kind of having big arm motions like this all over the place, but now I've been able to calm them down a little bit more, and I think it's made my presentation ability a lot more clear and concise, a lot better, and a lot more formal. And I think that's something that I'll always take with me as I keep maturing and growing into being a better public speaker.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me. We'll probably be in touch with you in the next few weeks or so. Take care.
All right, thanks, you too.